Okay, I guess we'll be getting started. First off, I would like to congratulate you on St. Valentine's Day. That is today, and today we're going to be talking about the third listening part in YGAM. I guess you have decided to join our today's conference just because you are planning to take YGA in English, and we will address one of the most complicated tasks at the exam. And as you can see from the title, it's called Смотря, сколько, details. Yeah, this task is related to detailed listening. That's exactly why the name goes like that. Yeah, so let's move on forward. A couple words about me. My name is Polina, and I teach at the Institute of International Education. The subjects I'm currently teaching are grammar, theoretical grammar, then academic English, and home reading. My experience-wise, I have taken several exams that have proved my proficiency in English. I've taken CAE, CPE, that have proved my level of English language knowledge, 3 modules of TKT exam, and the first module of Delta exam. The latter two are for teachers. They are about methodology. And currently, of course, I am, as always, eager to ensure my students' best performance. So in case you are interested in enrolling our institute, then I hope maybe we will work together soon. So moving forward, today we're going to start by a brief quiz on the structure of the listening part. So we will check how well you know it. In case maybe there needs to be some brushing up done, you will be able to do that as well. Then moving forward, we will proceed with some basic information on the listening part, discuss the strategies on the third part respectively, then practice, reflect on the task itself upon practice, and discuss questions. If you have any questions, we will be able to address them. So my first question to you is, how many tasks are there in the listening part? You can type in the chat. 1 to 9, okay. Yeah, 3 blocks. Receiving the answers already. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So there is the first task, the second one, and respectively the third block, the third part, is comprised of several more. So it's from the third till the 9th. Exactly. So we can by and large summarize it as 9. Okay, great. So how many recordings do we hear then? That's easier because we partly answered this question already. 3. Absolutely. Yeah, 3. 3. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, how many points can we get for part 1? For part 1 only. This year, there have been some changes in comparison with the previous one. Maybe someone knows. Oh, that's too many points that you're typing. 11, 20 for part 1 only. I mean, the first task, where you deal with the first one. Okay, 2 points. That's closer. Yeah, closer to truth. Let's see. In fact, only 2 points, right? So when we come to the section with basic information about all the parts, I will tell you how many points you get for each and every task, and for what exactly, like how many mistakes you may make in order to receive at least something while completing the task, and what your performance should look like if you want to get the maximum. Then, how many points do we get for the second part, where we have true, false, not stated? 3, 3. Okay, 3. So those people who are participating seem to know the truth, the accurate answer. So right, this is 3. Okay, how many points do we get for the third one, which we are discussing today? 9. 9, that's too many. 9, that's too many. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you are close. 7 points. Yeah, so moving on to the section about that is devoted to all the listening exam parts. Yeah, so we will start with the very first one. So part one here, we hear 6 monologues, but we have 7 statements. This task is on our general understanding of what we hear, so we don't have to grasp any details there. We just hear 6 monologues, and of course they are repeated twice. But we have 7 statements, which means that one of the statements is extra. Yeah, we will not apply it. So it's just like added in order to distract us a little bit, you know, from the accuracy there. So 2 points maximum. Some of you have responded correctly. If you make one mistake while completing this task, you get 1 point. If you get 2 mistakes or more, if you make them, you get 0 points respectively. And GIST listening, as I've already mentioned, that stands for general understanding. So usually, by the way, it's a small hack, even though it's not related to our general topic of today's. So usually you may hear the main idea of a recording either somewhere at the beginning of what you hear, yeah, the monologue, or at the end. It's like the topical sentence or the summary of a speaker. Okay, so moving on to the second part, there is a dialogue that we commonly hear there, a dialogue between friends, maybe a parent and a child, yeah, or some people, yeah, being involved in this dialogue. So we have 7 statements, and we are asked to identify whether the statements that are in front of us are true, false, or not stated. This task is more complicated than the first one for sure, because at times it's really hard to distinguish between false and not stated sentences, yeah, because some information may appear to be false, yeah, whereas it was not mentioned, like it's all dependent on our personal perception. So here, the situation looks like that. The maximum is 3. Yeah, points that you can get for this particular part. If you make 1 mistake, you get 2 points. If you make 2 mistakes, you get 1 point. If you make 3+ mistakes, 3 or more, respectively, you get 0 points. This task is on specific information listening. So, for example, if you hear maybe some information on the hobbies of those people, maybe some dates, perhaps, I don't know, their schedules, yeah, that are mentioned, you have to be capturers of that, of those things. And moving on to our major part, yeah, that's the third one. We will practice this one today. And here we can hear a dialogue or a monologue, so it would depend on your variant at the exam. Here you have 7 questions with multiple choice answers. You can get 7 points maximum respectively. Each of the questions gives you 1 point in case answered correctly. And this is detailed listening. So detailed listening is kind of a combination of gist plus specific info. So you have to get a better account of what you hear in this particular part. So moving forward, yeah, this task, there is a widely held opinion that this task is considered to be the hardest of all the parts in YGA listening. And my question to you is, do you agree with this information that this task is the most complicated? Please type in the chat plus minus, what do you think? Is it the hardest or, yeah, yeah, so it's... Okay, then I hope our today's practice will be useful. Okay, yeah, so thank you for responses. So let's move on. Yeah, before we start the practice itself, there is some strategy that we can apply in order to maximize the effectiveness of our approach to this task completion. So we have some steps, right? They are provided on the slide, and I will ask you to arrange these steps in the right order to approach the task. So what would you start by? What would be your second step, your third, and so on? So I will give you some time to think about it, a couple minutes, and please put down the order that you have in the chat. Like you can consider 1, 2, 3, 4. And for example, my order would be 2, 1, 4, 5, 3. Yeah. Like that. Mm-hmm. 35142. 124. Okay, there is a bit of difference here. Let's wait a minute more, and then I will tell you my perspective. Everyone may have their own approach, but still. Number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, answer sheet is your blank. Three, 5, 1, 2, 4. Okay, yeah, so the fourth will definitely come last. I agree here. So we start with the third, reading the questions, right? Then the fifth, highlighting the keywords. Okay. The first one, trying to hear the synonyms to the keywords while listening for the first time. Then checking ourselves and rewriting. Okay, that seems to be the most effective, in fact, strategy, yeah, to approach the task at hand. What I mean by synonyms, by keywords, and why did I put down the notion of reading the questions solely, yeah? I have a clear explanation to that, because, you know, when you are presented with the task, yeah, when you see it, you may well get a bit disoriented. Okay, what should I pay attention to the questions, to the options that I have? So my recommendation to you would be not paying attention to the options, yeah, but rather prioritizing the questions, because questions are definitely something that you will hear there, but not all of the options might be present in the passage, yeah, the listening passage itself. So it's better to highlight the keywords, usually represented by nouns, verbs, adjectives, yeah, adverbs, in the questions themselves, and then trying to hear the synonyms. Usually in this task, in the recording, they don't tell you the same words that are in the questions. Yeah, they are usually synonyms. So it's better to have some circle of synonyms in your mind while you are dealing with this task. Yeah. Then, yeah, usually the second listening is devoted to checking yourselves. Sometimes if you are not ready with all the answers, you can just complete something there. Yeah, just write it up and be done there. Okay. Yeah, so that's something I've already mentioned. I'd rather we paid attention to the questions rather than the answers. I've already explained why. Okay, so right now we will try and practice with this particular task. I just will play the recording. You may well take some notes while listening.
Now we are ready to start.
Could you please tell me if it was possible to hear? Now we are ready to start.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Today, in our Meet a Celebrity weekly program, we are talking to a successful filmmaker, Jim Slogan. Welcome, Jim.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Jim, did you want to be a filmmaker when you were growing up?
I grew up on a steady diet of science fiction. In high school, I took a bus to school, and I was always absorbed in a science fiction book, which took my mind to other worlds. I had a deep interest in other worlds, but didn't have an idea of where it'd take me in life. Whenever I wasn't in school, I was out in the woods, taking samples, frogs and snakes, and bringing them back, looking at them under the microscope. I was trying to understand the world and the limits of possibility.
Ha! Sounds like you could have become a scientist then.
Well, not really. I was an artist. I could draw and paint. And I found that it was because of no video games, so I had to create these images in my head. You know, we all did, as kids, read a book and made a picture in our heads. And so my own response was to paint, to draw alien creatures, alien worlds, robots, space. When I chose a career as an adult, it was filmmaking because that seemed like the best way to reconcile this urge I had to tell stories with my urge to create images. Filmmaking was the way to put pictures and stories together. And, of course, the stories that I chose to tell were science fiction stories.
Yes, most of your films are sci-fi, and in all of them you used some highly complex technology. Do you choose your plot to fit the technical possibilities, or do you create technology to suit your needs?
Usually we come up with ways to realize my film ideas. In one of my films, we created this water creature and we used computer-generated animation. And this resulted in the first computer-animated character that was ever in a movie. I witnessed advanced technology is hard to tell apart from magic. I thought, wow, this is something that needs to be used in the cinema art. So in my next film, we took that much farther. We created the liquid metal figure. We created magic again, and we had the same result with an audience.
You are known for your feature films, but do you ever do documentaries, for example?
Funny you should ask that. There was actually a moment in my life when I said, okay, I'm going to take a break from my day job as a Hollywood movie maker, and I'm going to be a full-time explorer for a while. And so, with a team, we went on an underwater exploration of a major shipwreck and made a film of that. At the same time, I was getting very interested in space science as well. I got involved with NASA. We put what we were learning on tape.
You must have learned a lot through these new experiences.
I learned a lot about science, but I also learned a lot about leadership. When I made my next sci-fi film, I tried to apply the principle of leadership, which is that you respect your team and you earn their respect in return. And the respect of your team is more important than all the fame in the world.
That's very insightful. What advice would you give to young film directors?
I would say, don't put limits on yourself. Other people will do that for you. Don't do it to yourself. Don't bet against yourself. Go and take risks. Whatever you're doing, failure is an option, but fear is not.
Okay, here it's supposed to be brave. We're listening another time.
Now we are ready to start.
Today, in our Meet a Celebrity weekly program, we are talking to a successful filmmaker, Jim Slogan. Welcome, Jim.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Jim, did you want to be a filmmaker when you were growing up?
I grew up on a steady diet of science fiction. In high school, I took a bus to school, and I was always absorbed in a science fiction book, which took my mind to other worlds. I had a deep interest in other worlds, but didn't have an idea of where it'd take me in life. Whenever I wasn't in school, I was out in the woods, taking samples, frogs and snakes, and bringing them back, looking at them under the microscope. I was trying to understand the world and the limits of possibility.
Ha! Sounds like you could have become a scientist then.
Well, not really. I was an artist. I could draw and paint. And I found that it was because of no video games, so I had to create these images in my head. You know, We all did, as kids, read a book and made a picture in our heads. And so my own response was to paint, to draw alien creatures, alien worlds, robots, spaceships, all that stuff.
I see. So in your art, you had this combination of science and imagination that eventually has led to movies, right?
Yes, when I chose a career as an adult, it was filmmaking because that seemed like the best way to reconcile this urge I had to tell stories with my urge to create images. Filmmaking was the way to put pictures and stories together. And, of course, the stories that I chose to tell were science fiction stories.
Yes. Most of your films are sci-fi, and in all of them you used some highly complex technology. Do you choose your plot to fit the technical possibilities, or do you create technology to suit your needs?
Resulted in the first computer-animated character that was ever in a movie. I witnessed something amazing. The global audience was in awe with this apparent magic. You know, any really advanced technology is hard to tell apart from magic. I thought, wow, this is something that needs to be used in the cinema art. So in my next film, we took that much farther. We created the liquid metal figure. We created magic again, and we had the same result with an audience.
You are known for your feature films, but do you ever do documentaries, for example?
Funny you should ask that. There was actually a moment in my life when I said, okay, I'm going to take a break from my day job as a Hollywood movie maker, and I'm going to be a full-time explorer for a while. And so, with a team, we went on an underwater exploration of a major shipwreck and made a film of that. At the same time, I was getting very interested in space science as well. I got involved with NASA. We put what we were learning on tape.
You must have learned a lot through these new experiences.
I learned a lot about science, but I also learned a lot about leadership. When I made my next sci-fi film, I tried to apply the principle of leadership, which is that you respect your team and you earn their respect in return. And the respect of your team is more important than all the fame in the world.
That's very insightful. What advice would you give to young film directors?
I would say, don't put limits on yourself. Other people will do that for you. Don't do it to yourself. Don't bet against yourself. Go and take risks. Whatever you're doing, failure is an option, but fear is not.
Okay, so that appears to be it for our listening part. Yeah, even though there might have been some lags, that's common of Zoom and online conferencing. So regardless of that, we will try and check what we have. So let us go, to the very beginning. I just for a moment opened the answers section, but we will try to discuss our keywords first off, and then move on to addressing the answers. And you will be able to compare the correct ones with the answers that you have pointed out yourselves. Okay, so our first question was, which of the following does Jim mention about his growing up years? Could you maybe type in the keywords that you think we should have paid attention to? What were the keywords here? The second, okay, yeah, so that's your answer, but what about growing up? Okay. Growing up years. Growing up years, yeah, what he mentions. Okay, yeah, so to mention growing up years. Following, we might take that, but yeah, I would agree with you that it's not the core idea here. Okay, fair enough. Then moving on to the fourth. What keywords have you been able to identify in the fourth? So that is, Jim decided to work in the film industry because he wanted to. Any thoughts? Okay, work in film industry because. Nice. Yeah. Decided work film industry because. I'd say so. Perfect. Thank you. The fifth question. Yeah, all of your points are correct. So decided work film industry because. I'd say so. Okay, the fifth one. Jim's first computer animated character was an attempt to. Again, we're focusing on content words, right? First character, animated character, attempt. Yeah, absolutely. So first animated character and attempt. These are our words. Computer might be, but the word animated kind of already implies that it's computer generated, animated. Yeah, so okay. The sixth one, according to Jim, the use of advanced technology in films. Advanced technology, yeah. Agree with you, completely do. Use advanced technology, films. Yeah, we just remove all the prepositions, all the articles from here and stick to the content. Okay, the seventh. Jim took a break from his main career too. Break, yeah, rather without the preposition of, yeah, but of course, break, career, I'd say main career, yeah, and two also, because here two shows the purpose of his break, yeah, why did he do that in the first place? Okay, the eighth one, according to Jim, a good leader is a person who is able to. According to Jim, we will not take, right, because everything is here according to Jim. It's the interview with Jim. Leader, able to. Yeah, good leader, able to. Yeah, well done. Well done here. Okay, and the final here, the final question. Jim's advice to young film directors is to be. Advice, young directors. Okay, totally, yeah. Advice, young film directors. Okay, that's all it takes. Okay, moving forward, let us analyze the answers. So in the third question, the key part of the script that we could have caught, yeah, or grasped while listening is I was trying to understand the world and the limits of possibility. So that's the second answer. So some of you have already put down in the chat. It was indeed the right answer. Then in the fourth question, yes, when I chose a career as an adult, it was filmmaking because that seemed, I guess, here like the best way to reconcile this urge I had to tell stories with my urge to create images. So the first point, yep, and that was, let's see, have a better chance to express himself. Did you have the same? Who had the same? Can you put a plus? Yulia, great. QQ, well done. Valeria, okay. Perhaps the other questions will be addressed correctly. Okay, so let's move on to the fifth one. In the part of the script, we could have paid attention to, yeah, he said, you know, any really advanced technology, it's hard to tell apart from magic. I thought, well, this is something that needs to be used in the cinema art. The third answer appears to be correct. Let's see again the question. First computer animated character was an attempt to, yeah, so magic through technology. I guess he expressed it quite clearly here. Who has the same? The third, for question number 5. Minus, okay, well, He also mentioned how much public was in awe. In awe, it's like they said, wow, yeah, to his creation. Yeah. Okay. So moving forward to the 6th one, we created magic again. And we have we had, I assume, the same result with an audience. And that's the first correct answer. And let's see. And the 6th one. Yeah, gives the audience a feeling of illusion. That definitely makes sense there. Minus, okay. Who had the first in number 6? Okay, some of you have succeeded, which is great. Okay, well done. Tilara. QQ. Okay, to the 7th. And so with the team, we went on an underwater exploration of a major shipwreck and made a film of that. At the same time, I was getting very interested in space science as well. I got involved with NASA. Here, I guess it was more than clear. He mentioned both space and underwater explorations there. So the second. I hope most of you had the second answer in number 7. Okay. All right, and so moving forward to the 8th one, I tried to apply the principle of leadership, which is that you respect your team and you earn their respect in return. So he wished to put forward the idea that it's always the exchange, yeah? So the leader does not command, the leader is a part of team. So the third answer appears to be correct, yeah? Gaining the trust and good opinion of the colleagues. Who agrees that it's number 3? Who has the same? And great. Nice, nice. Most of you are doing great, actually. Yes, okay. Cool. So the 9th one, the analysis there is not provided, but that's something that takes us to like the summary of his talk, what his advice was. Let's try to identify that. So Jim's advice to young film directors is to be, I'm sorry, there is a typo. It should be brave with E at the end. Yeah. So Yulia has chosen number 3. Okay. Valeria, number 3. In fact, I agree with those who've chosen number 3, because what he said was somewhat like people will create fear in you, yeah, so you shouldn't create it in yourself. Fear is not an option, you should be brave. That was his message there. Okay, great, great. So most of you have the predominance of correct answers. I hope our today's practice as well as strategic approach were both useful for you. Let's move on to the rating of the task. So upon our today's workshop, how would you rate the difficulty of the task from 1 to 10? 5, 7. Oh, 5 is good. I like 5. 7, well, it's okay, not 10 at least. That's good too. 3, easy breezy, okay. All right, 30, 36, the tasks under the numbers appear to be the hardest for Yulia. 5, okay. 8, well, it's kind of hard, but not the hardest. I'm glad that we don't have 10s here. It means that you don't perceive this task as the most complicated one in the history of tasks. Okay, so let's rate the usefulness of our today's practice from 1 to 10. How useful was that? 1, not useful, 10, very useful. 10, oh, thank you. That's good to know. 9, 5, okay. So hopefully, maybe you practice somehow in a different way more effectively. 5, 8. I'm glad to receive mostly high ranks. Okay, so thank you. Then moving forward, maybe you have some questions left. devoted to the task, devoted to listening to yoga. Specifically the third one. Let's address this part. Something like, if you are aware, you know about it. Yeah, no questions. Okay, 0 questions. Getting used to lectures in English. Well, getting used to lectures in English is not so hard if you have enough exposure to the language. You can listen to podcasts to prepare like for lectures format. You can listen to maybe, again, watching movies still may help because there you have a lot of language listening exposure. That's what we call extensive listening. You listen to a lot of information. Yeah, you may not understand everything, but you should be able to understand the core ideas there. So yeah, taking notes, practicing taking notes, maybe finding some academic videos on YouTube and trying to make short notes on these, yeah, on the topics that you listen to. So it does take time, it does take effort, but if you really want to like boost up your level, so should be ready for that. Okay. Oh, thank you. You're also cool. I hope you join us for the chat in the conference. Thank you as well. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Okay, so here are my socials in case you wish to stay in touch with me somehow. I have an Instagram page and Telegram, so you can scan the QR codes or maybe just find me by the nicknames. So that would be it. I would like to thank you for participation. Yeah, thank you as well for taking part in our today's workshop. Hope it was useful. And yeah, so see you then.